Oh no, the water was too warm when I washed. So I shrank the E-M1 X. I guess we can call this the Mini X. Don't try the stuff that I did in the intro at home. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgaard, an Olympus visionary and a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. My channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer and about Olympus gear. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell so you get notified when there is a new video online. I usually post 2 videos a week. Olympus has just announced the OMD E-M1 MKIII. And to be honest, I was really surprised that they announced this camera because the E-M1 MKIII just got a new firmware last summer, which was a major upgrade. I did not believe the rumors, so I was completely... I can't say the word, I'll try it again. I was completely... No, it doesn't come out. Let me rephrase that. I was not completely right on the rumors. So here it is. Now let's talk about this camera. What is new in it? This first impression video is based on pre-production model with the firmware 1.0, and Olympus Finland was kind enough to lend me this camera for this test. So thanks Olympus Finland. What was my first impression then? First I thought, okay, just another workhorse that can do the job a little bit better than the previous model. But once I got to use it a bit more, there is a lot more to it. So there is lots of good improvements. But let's first look how the Olympus OMD E-M1 MKIII looks like. So how many differences did you notice from the E-M1 MKIII when we speak about what the camera looks like? At the first look you'd think that it looks exactly the same, but there are some improvements in the usability. The biggest improvement is the joystick that it has now. The E-M1 X introduced the joysticks to Olympus cameras, which I think every Olympus camera should have because it's so handy. With the joystick you can change the position of the AF focus points. And it also can move the focus point diagonally. Diagonally. That's a hard word, but you know what I mean. The menu button is on the left side. You might think that this is not a big thing, but it's actually a lot easier to use the camera when you can toggle the menu button with your left thumb and then use the arrow pad with your right hand. Because the menu button is also a back button when you want to go to the previous menu. So that's why using the menu system with two hands is a lot faster than using it with one hand. And it is quite a big improvement in my opinion. And then they placed the info button where the menu button used to be. And the mode dial has 4 custom settings. So you can store 4 different custom settings to your camera and then you can access them from the mode dial. This is very handy if you set different settings for different shooting scenarios into the custom modes. It's really fast to access them. What else is new? I will tell you 9 things that were my favorites. And the first new thing is the new processor, Truepic IX. It's a lot more powerful than the previous processor, Truepic VIII. And because of the more powerful processor, the camera has some really interesting features. And it also affects the image quality, in theory. But I have not really tested that. Olympus says that it does improve the noise level a bit, but that's something that I will be testing when I will compare this to other 1 series OMD cameras. And about those features, I will talk about those in the later part of this video. And the second thing is shooting info in the back LCD. This is something new that Olympus gave us. There are some cameras that have a LCD on the top of a camera where you can fast glance what are your settings in your camera. Olympus has made it so that it's possible to have them in your LCD in the back. And this is a very handy way of checking out your settings, but I personally don't really need that, but it's a good improvement for those who like to have a fast glance on their settings. And the shooting info can be turned off from the menu. And of course you still have the super control panel where you can change those settings. And the IBIS on this one has 7 stops of stabilization. That's a huge amount. That's stop and a half better than the older model. And that is really astonishing. Can you imagine 7 stops of stabilizing? You can get really, really long shutter speeds handheld with this. No need of tripod or anything like that. A lot easier. And then the fourth thing, the firmware update in the future can be done with the OI.Share app. That is something that's not functional yet, because of course there is no firmware upgrade for the camera yet, and the OI.Share app is not upgraded to the new version yet. So that's something that I have not been testing yet, but I will as soon as it's possible and needed. A good improvement also to the usability of the camera. And number 5, MyMenu. This is a very good improvement in the menu system, because sometimes going deep inside the menu system can get you a bit lost. With the combination of Super Control Panel and MyMenu, it's a lot easier to use the camera. So another good improvement for the usability. The way it works, you just store your most used menu items to MyMenu, and then it's an easy access and fast access to those menu items. And number 6, Starry AF. And I was really lucky that I had the chance to test this. As you can see from this B-roll, when I was in a pitch dark place to do some star photography. Starry AF makes it possible to focus with autofocus to stars. That is something really new. I don't think there is any other camera that can do that. And while I was in this dark place where I could see the stars, and it was the most easiest star photography session I've ever done, because usually the focusing to stars is not really easy. You need to use manual focus and focus magnification, and still it might be a bit hard. But with Starry AF it worked perfectly. I got 80% of my images were tacked sharp. The only problem that causes was the light pollution, and if you had some tree branches in front. And even the clouds that appeared did not interfere with the focusing to stars. And there are 2 settings that you can choose from. You can choose speed or you can choose accuracy. I don't know where you need the speed, because the stars aren't moving that fast. So I used the accuracy. The way it works, you press the back button focus and grab the image. And that's it. Simple as that. And it's a really marvelous feature in Olympus OMD EM Mark III. And I think this is already the 7th improvement. That is the better AF for face priority and eye priority. It has been really good in the previous models, but the OMD EM1 Mark III has it even better. And it has a box around of the face that it's tracking, so it's really easy when there's only one person in a photograph or a video. But if you want to track someone and there are several faces in the photograph or in the scene, previously you did not know which face it was tracking, but now it has these extra markings on the corners, so you know which face the camera is actually tracking. And the good thing is that you can choose manually which one to track. You can assign a button to choose which face it will detect. Pressing the button down, and then with the front wheel you can choose which face it's going to track. And I tried it in real life and it really does work. It's a really good improvement, because before it could be a bit random which face the camera was tracking, but now you can choose it. Very good. And now the promised features that are possible because of the new processor Truepic IX. LiveND. The new EM1 Mark III has LiveND like the EM1 X has. And what the LiveND is, it's actually kind of like an electronic ND filter. And I'll make an image of that more waterfall that's behind me. And I will be using the LiveND filter on the EM1 Mark III. And if you don't know the concept of LiveND, I have a whole video about it, and I will put a link in the description of this video. So if you're interested in LiveND and how it works, you want to check out that video after you watch this video. But let's take the image. And handheld high-res shot, which is the same high-res shot that was in EM1 X. It is, yeah, X it is. And what they say about this handheld high-res shot, that it takes a bit more images than X, so it's supposed to be a bit better quality image. I did not compare the handheld high-res shot for this video, but I will do it later. And then when you take the handheld high-res shot, it is a 50 megapixel image, and of course the traditional high-res shot is 80 megapixels when you have it on tripod, and you choose from the camera which one you will use. And I will take an image of the same place that I took the LiveND with as a high-res shot. I have the tree in front and then the waterfall in the back. But let's see how the image comes out. There's one thing before I conclude what I think about the E-M1 Mark III. One thing that it does not have is a new sensor. And so it has the same sensor as many other Olympus cameras, and I think Micro Four Thirds world needs a new sensor in their camera. So we need to wait for the next upgrade for, I don't know which camera Olympus will put the new sensor, and I hope they will soon, because it is an old sensor. Of course, they've been improving the processor, so the image quality has been improved, but still, it's still an old technology sensor, I think. I think the technology has gone a bit further, so please, Olympus, get the new sensor and put it in your cameras. Okay, and now the conclusion. This was actually a much bigger improvement to E-M1 Mark II than I first thought when I saw the camera. As I said in the first impression, in the beginning of this video, that I thought it was not a big upgrade, but actually it is. There are some really good features, as you have seen in this video. The AF system has the most advanced improvements, I think. Like the Starry AF, as you saw, works great. Then you have the much better face priority and eye priority, and you can choose which face to track. And also it has the target settings mode, which the previous model did not have. This is the same way that it's done in E-M1X, and you can see here how it works. You can change the shape of the target area or the AF target area as you wish. And the joystick is really good for changing the place of the AF point. It works a lot better than the arrow pad, a lot faster. MyMenu, that is really something that I really like. It makes it easier to use the camera when you don't have to dive into the menu system all the time. You can just go to MyMenu or use the Super Control panel. Combining those, then you do not have to go or dive in deep to the menu system. You can store your most used items to MyMenu. That's a really good thing, and that is something that Olympus should have in every camera, and I think it could be done via firmware if they just wanted to. Please, Olympus, do it. And a good thing is also that it has the same battery as the other E-M1 series cameras, so you can use your existing batteries if you decide to get the new model. And also you can use the HLD9 battery grip, so that means that the camera is about exactly the same size as the E-M1 Mark II. The only difference is a placement of the buttons, but otherwise the camera is exactly the same size. And you probably have figured out already that the E-M1 Mark III is very close to the E-M1X. And also my intro implemented to that direction that it might be, and I think it can be called a Mini X. And the price that I heard that Olympus said of this camera is going to be about $1,800. So it's not the cheapest one in the market, but I think it's a pretty fair price because a lot of people expected it to be over 2,000, which would have been too much. But I think 1,800 is quite a good compromise of a price of this camera. I will be making a battle video between the three E-M1 series cameras, the E-M1 Mark II, the E-M1X, and the new E-M1 Mark III. So if that video is already published, you can find it from there. And thanks for watching, and bye for now.